What up, folks? Man, that's one of the longer ones I've done, and it feels really, really good. I don't know, peeps. That light is bright. I'm gonna have to turn that one down. I'm just gonna turn that off for now. But it is so amazing to be here. I'm so excited to be back. It's been a while. I've been insanely busy. Like busy beyond my wildest dreams. It's all good busy though, right? Got the day job, got the 1-year-old. My son just turned 1. That was a monumental moment. That just happened last weekend. Wow. We've got daily spaces with JR in my district. Let me tell you this, man. JR, there are a few people in the space. JR Blue being one of them. My boy Bubbles, my boy Nautical, my co-founder. There's really few people in the space that I like 1,000% trust. JR is one of those, and we've been growing this space daily, Monday through Friday, NFTs and bourbon. And last night was magical. We had over 40 people. We had a lot of OGs in the space that had been in NFTs since 2020. We're all really cool artists. I degened in. I bought like eight NFTs of a couple artists. That was fantastic, and we just had a good time. So we're doing that. Also heading up growth for my man Adam on Quora. He was on the show. I think that's one of the cool things that I do here, right? I get to talk to amazing founders like Nemanja. By the way, welcome to the show. I'm just going to throw that out there real quick. You look beautiful, by the way. I told you before we came on live, Nemanja, you've got one of the coolest setups that's ever been on this podcast. So I'm thoroughly impressed that you prepped that way. But welcome to the show, brother. I'm super excited to have you here.
Thank you, Mikey. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely, dude. And we're going to have an incredible conversation. I freaking love doing this because we're going to get so much cool knowledge. You're doing something incredible that's insanely important. People are going to learn from this. And one of my favorite things that I love about what we do, and I say this a lot, Nemanja, to people, is your story obviously is totally different than mine. From a guy from the US, and you're doing something incredible, and someone's going to hear your story online, and it's going to resonate with them, and they're going to see your wins, your losses, your successes, your failures, and it's going to click in their head, man. And your conversation is going to help them become a better person or do something that they always wanted to do, because you're going to give them the confidence to do that. And that's, I think, one of the most beautiful things that come from this. And in addition, everybody gets to learn. I get to learn. It's a little selfish myself because you're going to give me knowledge that I've never had before. And I'm going to be a better person after the next hour and a half. So I'm super excited. As far as the rest going, helping to build Quora out, in addition to working with DSK, Tyler, Bubble and Nautical have become great friends, amazing human beings. Cannot wait to continue to grow that relationship, figure out how we can make this Web3 space better. We have, now, I think he's done some things that have been controversial, but at the end of the day, I truly believe this guy, all he wants to do is provide value. His name used to be NFT God. For people that have been in the space for a while, he has changed his brand to Alex Finn. He's basically a growth hack man for Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. He's coming on the show next week. That's going to be a fantastic conversation. You're actually going to learn about him as a human. Maddie's going to be back, so we'll have Maddie as a co-host, and I just cannot wait to do that. But enough about me. It's time to get on to the man, the myth, the legend, Nemanja. And I think, Nemanja's right? Or is it
Nemanja,
still messed up? It's right? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's okay.
I'm just going to butcher it. I'm just going to accept that I'm going to butcher it, and I apologize in advance. So, little thing about background. What we like to do here at Midlife is do a more formal introduction and not just roll into it. So, a couple of things about Nemanja. Computer science software guru. And I say guru because he's worked for many, many startups, big, small, successful, failed, and he's learned a lot through that process. But my favorite part is he gave me a little tidbit of information that not everybody knows. This dude has a black belt in judo, which means he could whip my ass with his eyes closed. Like, totally closed, he could just kick my ass. But I am super excited, even knowing those facts, to have this conversation. Nemanja, did I miss anything? Is there anything you wanna add there, or can we just get into the show?
No, definitely. We can absolutely always do it. We can go to the show directly.
Fantastic. So with that being said, whoever's been here that is not new, knows exactly what I'm gonna ask. But for the new people, we do it very simple here. We have a world famous midlife crisis question, which is, Nemanja, how did you get to the seat you're sitting in today? We like to describe it as give us episode 1, 2, and 3. Episode 1 is your childhood. Things that happen at a younger age that help mold the mindset and the way that you think today. I think that's critically important about people. Every person's childhood drastically has an impact on how you grow as a human. So we're going to cover that. Next, your professional career, college, what you did with the startups as a software engineer that kind of prepped you to get into what we are really here to talk about, which is Web3, HiveBits, and everything that you're doing now. So hit me, man. Let's start with episode 1. I cannot wait to hear. This is going to be a fascinating conversation.
Yeah, so my journey starting like 30 years ago, like in Bosnia, during the war. So I'm born 1 month after the war started. So let's say, okay, like first 3 years, nobody remembers, but let's say after that first 3 years, I remembering some flashbacks for that period, like how we running from our home, like how we ran into basement when we heard the airplane, things like that. But I was lucky because I was young, so most of that I forgot. So when we came home back, when everything is settled down, it was like, I was happy kid because I saw that many kids around they don't have the father, like because father died in the war.
Oh, wow.
So I was like happy in that moment, say, wow, man, my father is home, so I'm happy kid. So this is one of the first, like, let's say memories from childhood, like stronger memories that I have.
Yeah.
And after that, everything, like, childhood was okay. Like, it was great. Like, after that, like, I have supportive parents, like, who support me on every step.
Real quick. How did that whole war sector, like, how old were you when you finally got to a place that you felt like was safe, and now I'm starting to grow up and have a semi-normal
so at least I said had 6 years, something like that, 7 years, like,
yeah,
before you started school.
Yeah.
Like, and then when you start.
So to your point, right? You're very, very young. What's interesting to me already is you went through something horrific in the early age of your life. But the first thing that you said was, I'm thankful because I had my family. It's what's really interesting to me is there's many people that go through a similar situation, but come out of that situation angry, upset, resentful at the world, and it turns into bad things. My question to you is, and if it's too early for you to if you don't have an answer, that's totally fine. But what is fascinating to me is you already just gave us this huge insight that it wasn't fun, but you're like thankful, and I can tell that you're a warm-hearted person. Can you talk to me about that? About why you think you came out the other side with that grateful mindset opposed to being angry and frustrated?
Maybe I was too young, like, to realize some things. That's
Right.
first, and second one is definitely family, like, because family is that who keeps you on good way, like on the right path. If your parents are with you and your family is with you, so it's much easier to go to right path instead to
Right.
go on some.
Yeah, and I love that you said that, because I think that is so critical, right? A lot of people say that they're fine alone. They're fine without guidance, but like, especially during your formative years, and let me know if you believe with that, right? Is having strong parent figures to help you um, build morals, build how to act as a human being is so, so important, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like right now, I have, like you said, you have son 1 year old. My son has 7 months now.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's
nice. Congrats,
yeah,
man. We're going through the
thank you.
same stuff.
Yeah,
Fortunately,
exactly.
I need this question. When did they start sleeping through the night? Because I am a very, very small subset. Month and a half, son slept through the night, never had to deal with it. So I actually I've been getting sleep for a while now. How about yourself?
I'm happy guy because my son is sleeping all night. So since beginning,
Yes, yeah. The first, I mean, I couldn't. The first month and a half, man.
exactly. First month and a half was like really really tough. Like I
Oh
was,
my god!
yeah,
Right,
it
and
was
this is the thing. I don't know what your advice or your input on this. Uh, no one really like preps you for like how wild it's gonna be, but I think the reason they don't is because you just have to experience it to understand what it's like, right? Like, there's nothing that I can say right now on camera to somebody that's about to have a kid to prep them for what it's gonna be because the experience is just mind blowing, right? Would you agree with that one?
definitely definitely nobody can prepare you for that. Like because first 1.5 month I was almost, it was impossible for me to work at all because I was so like under some kind of the stress, like
Yeah.
positive stress, but stress like I cannot focus on anything else because kid is crying, change the diapers,
Oh.
all of this is, but it's on the end, it's great. It's a great experience. Like,
Oh, 100%. Like, it's one of the main reasons I'm here on this earth, I'm firmly convinced. The other one is doing this, right? Helping people share their stories to hopefully become a better person. So back to the other thing, but because I cut you off in the sense that what you said was fascinating to me, and we got to family and we got to strong parent figures. Can you talk to me about what were those lessons or morals or things that they built in your mindset? Obviously, I'm going to go right off the bat. My assumption is strength, right? They just protected you, and the worst possible thing that you could grow up in, which was like war running from your home, right? So I think just by their actions of protecting you, you got that, right? But is there any other things that your mom or your dad, like, you just lessons that they instilled in you as you were growing and remembering more things?
of course, like it could be like from like some small things that like put your hands from the pocket when you are going the stairs because if you fall, you need to have your hands to not fail on your hand to like to
Yeah.
some other things like if you see some kid that has no chocolate and you have chocolate, share a chocolate with him, like because
Mm,
it's good to do. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I think from these small unimportant things to like these really really big lessons how to be human.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's coming from parents or from
And
the
as
family.
far as all of those lessons, give me the top 1 or 2 things that you think are the most important things that they've kinda instilled in you and talked to you about.
Oh, it's hard actually to select some of them, but
Well, yeah, give me a couple. I mean, you know, don't think about, like, picking the one, but just a couple of, like, really, like, kind of morals lessons that you've taken through to this day, and you think back to your childhood, and you're like, "Thank God mom and dad taught me this."
yeah, first of one thing like maybe most important for me is to not judging other people.
Mm,
That's I think one maybe I can say maybe most important because if you start judging other people judge to you, and you will go to some infinity loop that you will never go out by judging, and this will eat you from inside.
yes.
So if you cannot support someone, don't make any obstacles to his way to do what he wants to do.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you don't want to support him, don't support him, but don't like destroy him on that way, especially not because of the fun. So I think that maybe this could be the one. Right when I'm looking
Yeah.
from this perspective, it could be one really, really most important lesson.
Yeah, and I think that's man, it's so refreshing to hear you say that because but and I love your thoughts on this. This day and age in the internet, that's all it is, man. It's just straight judgment, right? And to grow up in that cyber world and now one you've already gone through some like really traumatic things as a young person, but then to come out of that humbled and say I'm going to share my chocolate and I'm not going to judge anybody. Again, like I said, Nemanja, like we're already here, right? Like people need to be able to hear that, to say like, hey, even if you go through tough times, you come out the other side, this is honestly the way that you should be as a human. And it's just beautiful to hear, man. It's beautiful to hear. So thank you for that insight. Let's move forward after. So you're now saying that you've found a supportive place to live. It's not as uh, it's not war ridden and all the things that we talked about. Just briefly go through that time. Now we're talking about, you're 7, 8 years old. You're starting to grow, and you're going to high school. You're in middle school. Tell me about those formative years. And what I'm interested in this aspect this time is, uh, what did you start like being interested? Did you play sports? Did you like to tinker with things? Like, what was your mindset there on like things that like really interested you as you were learning and growing?
So I think that the most important, one of the most important parts of my life actually is when I started to train judo,
Mm,
because
okay.
my father he trained karate for a long time, so
Hmm.
he somehow pushed me into sports. And judo, it's actually judo built my character. It's built who I am right now. Because in the judo, the most important thing is to learn first to fail and then to get up. And then you are
Ooh,
failing constantly, constantly, constantly failing, but you are constantly getting up.
yes,
So this
yes.
was the much more important for me than school. Actually, school was okay. You go some lectures. One year you are better. Next year you grades are going down because you are in lab or whatever. I call this growing up. But judo was like one constant thing. Like starting from primary school, ending high school, and first years of the university was like probably the most important way, because when you came there, you are other people throwing you around, and then you are trying to fight back to grow. And then when you grow and grow and grow, then you start teaching other people, younger kids, how to go through all of these steps. So it
Yeah.
was like, and one of the most important parts is also here, because my trainer, my judo trainer, she was a woman. She was passed away like last year. So, but she was really, really good.
Oh man,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, it was tough. Like, but she was like really good with kids, because it's much important on this young age to be good with the kids and know how to deal with the kids than to push them to get some results, like in terms of some medals or something like that. Because in that period you need to build a character.
Right.
So I were really like lucky because of that. So
Yeah. Yeah, and what's interesting to me, and like I said, I wish my co-founder Maddie was here because was a black belt in Taekwondo. Um, this is another thing that is interesting to me because there are people that go through. It's the Karate Kid story, right? People will interpret fighting and defense, and again, manipulate it the wrong way and use it for bad, right? And they're going to go out and be a bully and use it for bad. And it sounds like you and my co-founder Maddie, you really learn self-defense, right? And he always told me, and I love this. He even ended up uh I think he still does it to this day, right? He does UFC, grappling, and a lot of different things. But he treats it as, I mean, I know the dude could break my neck in like a half a second. It was one of the scariest moments of my life. We've talked about this before on the podcast. Is he was double black belt at this time, or in his basement, and he was just, when you're buddies and you don't see him training, you're still a buddy, right? And you're like, oh, dude, I could kick your ass, no problem. And he like put the fear of God in me because I was like joking, told him I could take him down. And within the split second before I was done the sentence, he had done a full roundhouse kick and his toe was at my temple. And I was like, if he had done that with any force, I would have been dead immediately. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to ever mess with my buddy Matty again because this dude knows what's up. But what I'm getting at is you learn something that you could inflict pain on people, but his interpretation was this is the last defense for me, right? You're learning how to mitigate conflict. So the last thing you need to do is roundhouse kick somebody in the face. It seems like you had a similar vibe in the sense that your trainer taught you humility and how to be a person in addition to self-defense. Am I right there or am I off base?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think that bullies usually bullying other people because of their internal insecurity.
Yeah.
When you go to the gym, then you will see like you are not the strongest guy, but you are not the weakest guy. So it somehow puts you into balance. So then you'll learn that someone who is stronger can help you, and because you're stronger than someone else, you can help someone else. So somehow you balance yourself in your brain. So you stop bullying other people because it's pointless, and you are not anymore insecure in yourself because there's other people. There is your team who's helping you. He's there for you. So you always have someone that you can count on. So it's completely different mindset when you are part of some judo club or any other club, sport club, it's not matter. And then you are not, like when you have some internal issues that you are unsolved and you're not solving it. And then if you're physically strong, you're going to bully around like other people. So.
And the reason I bring it up, because I think it's a really important message, right? Is people immediately interpret it like, oh, you're doing judo or karate, you must be a violent person, an aggressive, angry person. It's like, no, like you learn these things and you learn a lot of different things from that, which is actually how not to bully, how to de-escalate situations, right? How to understand people, how to be disciplined. Like there's a lot of different beautiful qualities that come out of learning judo, becoming a black belt, taekwondo, whatever you want to pick, right? There's so many beautiful things that come out of that. And I feel like the message usually is when people see that, they interpret it as all of the bad things they see. So thank you for sharing that, man. You're already sharing insane alpha and nuggets about you as a human. And this is exactly why I do this, because now when we get to HiveBits, we really kind of start understanding like why you're doing what you're doing. Like not everyone's like, hey, I'm going to tokenize some beehives and try to save the bee colonies in the world, right? But now I'm starting to get a personal understanding as to why you might be that person that's doing that. And it all makes sense to me right now so far. So let's take us past a judo. Anything else that you want to touch on about your family, or high school before we kind of get to the college professional career? Because what I like to do is try to take about 20 minutes for each episode. And by the way, we're way past 20 minutes already, believe it or not. You've already given an amazing story. So anything else that you want to touch before we kind of get more to the college professional career?
Yeah, just shortly, like in high school, actually, I decided that I'm going to be like programmer, like because the coding was my favorite subject, and I'd done it really well. So in that moment, it was click. Like I decided, like, okay, I'm going to study computer science because I love to do it.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because that's interesting to me, because I took AP computer science in high school. And when I learned, because I'm old, I'm basically a boomer. I'm the first, I'm the last year of a millennial, right? I'm 43. I just turned 43. My birthday was like 4 days ago. I can't believe I'm 43. This is wild. So when I went and did AP computer science, it was C++. There was no text editor, right? And once I got to line 50 of the code and you're telling me that a period or a comma or something's out of space and nothing's going to work, I was like, yep, that's not me. I do not have that attention to detail. What was it about computer science that attracted you? Was it just because you were good at it, or was there something else there?
No, I was really good at it, and I really love it because we used to work in Python.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, not Python, Pascal.
I was going to
Pascal.
say.
Okay, it's more educational now, programming language, and
Right.
we used to, and then most of the tasks we done on the paper.
Right. Gotcha.
Not on computer on paper. So, but when the teacher is reading the task, I already have it in my head. It was really interesting for me, and then I realized actually that I have this mathematical, logical thing that you need to be a good programmer. So to understand like how put these variables in RAM memory and then pull it out and manipulate with them and deliver them to the end user. So it was really interesting in that moment. Then I realized, wow, I like to do this. But also there's I had one hobby. I used to actually fix computers to other kids, reinstalling systems and all of these things. So changing the components inside there. So it was PCs. So it was kind of like shaped me already that I'm going to do it. And funny thing, my father, he also liked to fix the things, but by profession, he's medical doctor.
Oh, interesting.
But he's one of the best guy who knows how to fix your dishwasher or like things like that. So
he's very handy, right? But,
so
even if, and that you already obviously gave me another insight. To become a medical doctor, like you experienced him doing hard work, but also one of the main reasons you become a doctor, if you're being a doctor for the right reasons, is you're compassionate about people. You want to help people. You want to, save them physically, mentally, whatever it may be. So that also thoroughly impacted you as well. But what I heard, which is interesting too, is the other mindset I think that you picked up is you like to fix things. You like to put things together. You like to figure out how things work. And so that combined with computer science, I'm already getting this narrative that it makes sense that you see a problem with bees and your mind's already starting to go like, hey, how do I start fixing these things? So it makes total and complete sense. Before we move on to episode 2, though, Trevor has a fantastic question, which is, do you think you can take Teddy Riner? I think I said that right. Do you think you could take Teddy Riner down?
No, definitely. Come on, Teddy, it's one of the greatest judokas ever. So
I assumed that would be the answer. Unfortunately, I'm not that into the space, so I didn't even know who he was, but you immediately knew who he was, which means, he'd whoop your ass.
Yeah, like this is what we talked before, balance. You need to find balance because there is people who are stronger and better than you, and there are people who you can
right.
So.
And I love that answer. It makes sense. You understand your limits and there is balance. I think we're actually talking about changing our logo, and one of the ways that you can interpret yin and yang is balance, dark, light, however you want to go. But balance is so huge, and we'll talk to that as you as a founder, because I know you feel unbalanced at sometimes too, and I can't wait to hear kind of how you work through that, because those are also critical learning lessons as well. Okay, so let's go on to episode 2. So you love computers, you're getting really into software engineering, coding. Did you go to university? Did you just go straight into startups? What did that all look like? And what I'm interested in this point is, as you go through this part of your life, mentors, skill sets that you're thinking you learn, failures, anything that pops to mind that helped again evolve you and grow you as a human.
Yeah, so like in high school, after high school, so I went to university, like to study computer science, and I think I was lucky because in that moment here where I'm living, somehow startups, it was blow up in startups, like balloon was growing and growing, like of startups.
Yeah.
Many people talk about startups, how to do, what to do. So it was really great actually opportunity to join to some of startups.
Mm-hmm.
And actually instead of me to join, I tried to build my own startup. Like, I'm not going too deep into it, but of course I failed. So
Tell me about that. Tell me about that experience, though. Like, what did you learn from there? Because I think that's critically important. How old were you? Just tell me the idea, and we don't have to go deep into the company. But what I'm interested in, why did you fail, and what did you take away from that experience?
So first hard lesson was for me, like I got idea, gather some team, and the idea was to connect like personal trainers with the clients, because in that moment I still was part of judo. I went to gym, all of these things. So that was kind of idea. And then actually my team came to me just because they like the idea, but they didn't actually want to be part of it. They are just wait till we get some investment or something like that. And then by time, like actually whole my team disappeared without any word, and I was left alone.
Yeah.
So my first good lesson about startups, you would find yourself good team who understands you, who understands your idea, and who wants to build it.
Yes.
So that was the first hard lesson for me, definitely.
Right. And so that is critical, right? And I always say this, I've talked to well over 200 founders at this point, made connection with some of the top people in the space. I've had a team of people that have worked for me for free. I've tried to hire people. I still can count on one hand the amount of people that brought true value to me. And my learning lesson from that, and I'd love to hear your learning lesson. My learning lesson from that is people talk a lot, right? They talk the talk, but they do not walk the walk. And I think it's a combination of a couple things. One, they really want to do what you ask them to do, but they just really don't even have the passion or ambition to do it. So it's kind of like this mental thing. And then two, you have to be very clear about what you're looking for. Like if you can't explain the task and the mission and the strategy and the vision, if you can't clearly articulate that, it's never going to work out. And then three, you can't just have a general like, I need an accountant, right? Like an accountant in general is a very broad thing. Like you need to really be able to define that actual skill set that you're looking for. And sometimes that takes trial and error from your end. So those are kind of some of the insights I have. Anything to build on that?
No, I just can agree with you definitely here. Like it's
no,
well done. It's well said. Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally cool. Totally cool. So that's really interesting. I like that. You already gave us a learning lesson and we barely got anywhere. So take us to, you started a startup. Take us, continue through that episode 2 story.
So like, because I work for many different projects, but I will just try to select some good and guess what?
Yeah, so select some more. Like, give me 2 good, give me 2 bad. In the 2 goods and the 2 bads, some learning lessons from those experiences.
So yeah, for one interesting project was like I went to the Netherlands and to do my internship. And I was work for one small software company that built the educational platform.
Mm-hmm.
And they were really interesting. It was 2 team people, so founder and developer, and they managed actually to build really nice musical platform for learning music that they successfully implemented to the schools in the Netherlands. So for me, this was wow, because I realized, okay, you don't need to have like big team, you don't need to have so much money, you just need to have a good idea. and someone who knows how to implement it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and that goes to that age-old thing that you hear forever as a product market fit. Because would you agree with this? You can have a good idea, but if nobody cares about it, then it doesn't matter either, right? So did you see? Did you have that kind of revelation, realization that this was a good idea and people actually were interested in using it, right?
Not in that moment, but after I came back from the Netherlands,
Yeah.
I got offer from one company to work for them, and I jumped to the team, like 30 developers plus 10 developers for native applications.
Yeah.
It was some rich startup from the New Jersey, and they have a lot of money, huge team, huge marketing team, all of them, and they failed because they didn't understand their customers, what their customers are need.
Yeah.
So they had good idea, everything was fine, but they built something that it's not actually needed to the client.
Right.
Client
Right.
needed something definitely else. And then I realized, wow, look, these guys from the Netherlands, two guys, small budget, they built a successful thing. And look, these guys, so much money, so big team, like, and they still cannot deliver anything or build anything that brings value to their customers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Potential customers.
Do you have that specific example as what they built and how they were wrong? Because that's really interesting to me.
Yeah. So what they built, actually, they built some forms that the clients should use when they communicated with their clients.
Yeah.
But actually, what client needed just way to find new clients, not any forms to communicate with them because there is assistants who communicating with other people.
Interesting. Right.
So they
So
spend all money. They even run ads on TV in USA.
right.
So it was a lot of money in the game. But actually, they misunderstand this. So I don't need you to build me the form because I have assistant who will take the new car client. You just need to bring me new client.
Right. So and you think, looking back at that situation, how would they have come to that realization? Is it as simple as getting their product into who they thought their potential customer was and getting the feedback that, like, no, this is actually not what I need X? Is it as simple as like doing that focus group and getting it into people's hands, or what else could they have done to have that insight?
First, they should listen to the team because team told them already, guys, don't do it because we as a sourcing company, we already building other startups, we have experience. So let's be agile. Let's listen what customers needs.
Right. Right.
But they will say, no, we know what they need. And we will solve that by investing money into ads, like to advertise them to.
Right. Right.
Completely wrong, like model. And then when they spend all of the money, then they realize, okay, wow, this is not working because nobody wants to use it because there is no value.
That beautiful insight, beautiful learning lesson. Take me through one or two more, and then also I'm interested. Did you have any kind of mentors from a business perspective, like your parents taught you some really, really great values and qualities, like we've talked about already? Did you have any mentors or impactful managers, leaders throughout that moment that really, taught you some insightful lessons?
To business, no, definitely. I think that I self-taught in that way that I actually realize what other people do, how business manage. So I always like to be part of it, of the process.
Yeah.
But because I'm techie guy, I always was on the side. They pushing me in the side like techie guy. So you need to handle the tech, not the business.
Right. Right.
But for me, it was okay. Maybe I'm not in the center, but I still can learn.
Right. No, that makes sense. And so, as far as looking back, because you've worked for a lot of startups, what do you think the number one mistake is for startups, or a common theme that you saw? We talked about one, which was creating a solution for a customer, and that solution is irrelevant. Is there anything else there that is an insight or knowledge you gain that you think about as you build HiveBits?
This is my opinion. I don't say this is right, but I think if you want to build a successful startup, you should first try to solve your own problem. So if you have your problem that you can solve, you're definitely be able to offer that solution to other people.
I love it. Yeah, and I think that's simple, and I think you know, I'm working for our company, a couple companies at this point. I'm working for a company right now, and I think um, we're working through that a little bit right now, and it's critically important because if you if you go down the wrong road, you're going to waste time, you're going to waste a lot of money, and you're going to end up at the end of the day empty-handed. So I think that's really good insight. Uh,
This is also like depending what you want to do. For example, like you can spot maybe some gap in the finance sector and then you bring solution and solve it. But if you're not from finance sector and you don't like to do it, I believe that there is no enough passion like to deliver it. If you trying to solve your problem and then you have actually this X factor that is actually passion to build it.
Absolutely. And I think you just then tapped on, and I say this at nauseum, right? And I think the best way, one of the best ways somebody put this that has been on the show is they use the example of the video game industry, right? There's a lot of people that love to play video games. And where does your head go immediately if you're like, I need to get into the video game industry? Well, one of the top things that you think you need to be is some type of software developer like yourself, or a 3D modeler, animator. Those are like the top things where your head goes. So like, well, I need to be one of those to be successful in video games. And his point was, there's marketers, there's finance people, there are video game testers, right? There's pretty much in any big industry that you see, there is any job in that funnel. You just need to find what you're passionate about as a skill set of what you like to do, and then line it up with that industry. Like that was, I thought that was like a really beautiful way of putting it, because it's really hard to figure out that passion. And which I think goes to the next great question is, as you're going through this, are you building this passion for startups? Are you building passion for a certain part of startups? What does that look like in your mind?
So yeah, I have also this passion about startups because I realize I like to build things, and definitely one thing that I want to do in the future
Look
it's
like in
actually
your mind?
to help some other people to build startups. Like because I found some regions and areas where there's no enough education about that on that field. So where smart kids they don't have access actually to the mentors, the critical things that we talk. So definitely like helping other people to build is one of the way for the future, definitely.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And I'm sorry, I got got a couple bingings going up there. I'm not sure what the hell happens. So you're looking at how startups work, how excited you are to continue to build those. So it makes sense that HiveBits then becomes a thing. Before we get to your journey into Web3, anything else in this period, because you have a robust amount of knowledge, we already got some pretty cool insights. Maybe even some one more failure, maybe one more learning lesson. If not, that's totally fine. We can move on to episode 3. Any thoughts there?
So I maybe I won't mention one also small startup. It was success. I was like one of first developers into it. They had huge success. Also small team, small budget, great idea. So I just confirm actually in that moment all of these that I believed before. They have organic growth step by step. They just solved the simple problem to the people, and they were really successful with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, you know, it's interesting that you say that, because I have worked for really large corporations pretty much my entire career. And what I've taken away from the big corporation thing is, when it gets too bloated and you're public and you're beholden to Wall Street and the stock market, uh, it starts sucking the life out of the company. And all you're really at the end of the day is trying to force efficiencies into this big behemoth to make more money. And that is not what I'm about. And I'm also firmly convinced that if you have smart people that are agile, you can keep a really small team in this digital world and be very, very, very successful. And that's what I'm interested in, because I'm interested in balance with family, friends, flexibility, freedom. But I also like to work hard at things that I'm passionate about. And I think you can have it all. I think there's too much this narrative that you need to only sleep 2 hours a day for 10 years in a row to be successful, which is bullshit, right? Any thoughts there?
Yeah, I can completely agree with you because I see now on this social media there is flood of these people who are saying exactly that.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
sleep, don't eat, don't do other things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, definitely no. Like I say again, I can give him back balance. Like you need to find balance because if you want to deliver good things, like you need to be like in full physical and mental form, like to deliver it. It's not like you cannot do it under stress or if you are unhappy or if there's some other unsolved issues with family or something like that. No, like if you
100%.
want, because even if you success without you solving this first, you're not going to be happy, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Lessons learned. Mankind even chimed in. Facts. Absolute facts, people. You need to, I don't think I can stress that enough. And I've had multiple very successful people on this show that did what we're talking about, and they ended up face first on the ground, fainting in their apartment, or having a major, major mental breakdown. A lot of people don't talk about like being, entrepreneurship is so glorified at this moment in age because of the internet. It has some of the most highest mental illness disorders out of anything that you can do too, because of this balance thing that we're talking about. So beautiful conversation, man. I mean, like I said, see, we're building this friendship around this digital fireplace. I'm starting to really know you as a human being. I really appreciate you being vulnerable, sharing these insights. And now we're going to get to the meat of the Web3 conversation. So before we get to HiveBits, I'm really, really interested in that couple year moment of time where you found Web3. What did that look like? And what interested you about it?
Yeah, Web3 and me, it was funny story because for a long time I actually refused to enter to Web3, either from investing side or either from this technical side. Say, Web3, blah, 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 whatever. But in one moment, there is one guy who practically came up to me and said, dude, last bull market, I earned this money. And then I realized, fuck, this is real. This is not like there is a lot of bullshitting, but it's real. Like there is good people who do good projects. And then in last bull market, actually, I started easily to invest into tokens, but mostly into NFTs. The NFTs was really like interesting to me, and something that they call like nodes. Like you buy the node and then node generates you something, whatever. So this is actually how I step into Web3 by investing usually into this.
Interesting. So you kind of came from this node angle, and was it just the fact that you saw once you set this up, this can kind of be some residual form of income?
Yes. So practically, how then I start thinking how to build my me passive income like through Web3 through crypto.
Yep.
That was my base like idea, and then I started easily, and of course I rugged sometimes, I get rugged sometimes, and some
and
projects are
and what year, like what time frame is this? Where are we talking?
What was the last bull?
2021.
2021, yes, something like that. Something
Okay.
like that. Don't get me.
Okay.
Like,
so that's actually when you really entered crypto Web3, because you put it off for a while and then you finally are like, okay, I can make these nodes, do some passive income. This is interesting
yes.
to me.
So
Okay,
I
cool.
took some hard-earned money from coding and put into different projects. So
awesome.
I can say.
Go ahead.
No, yeah, continue. Okay.
So so anything else? You learn the nodes. You finally, were convinced. Oh my gosh, I can make some money. Same thing for me, right? I was like, this is all BS, and I won a couple creative competitions, and within 2 weeks, I had, $40,000 worth of crypto, and I'm like, what the hell? And I just went down the rabbit hole. I was like, or something here. Anything else before we get into HiveBits? Because I am fascinated about the whole bee colony, what you're building. Because I've always heard bees are super important, but I've never taken the time to actually research it and understand why bees are important. But before we get there, anything else about Web3? What attracted you? What was interesting? Any learning lessons?
So actually, when I start investing, then I start thinking, as we talk about startups, can I build some project can I invent something that other people would like to invest, or maybe to build some tool to help other people to invest, or maybe some click to run node, because there is many projects where you can like run node and then stake money onto it. So I started thinking like about this, and then I easily started like to enter into Web3 from developer side as developer, like.
Yeah. Awesome. So take us into HiveBits, man, and how I like to. You're saying, okay, I understand this Web3 thing. I'm building nodes. There's something here. The technology is fascinating to you. You can make money, right? You're seeing this bull run happen, and then somehow you're like, bees are a solution. Tell me how that even came about. Have you always been fascinated about bees, or did you just start doing research and saying like, oh, I understand this tokenization thing. I understand that I can do digital ownership of a real world asset. This makes sense to me. Take me through that mindset and process.
Yeah, so actually, bees are kind of my family tradition. My great grandfather was chairman of local beekeeping association in Montenegro, Podgorica. It's near to sea, to the coast.
Yeah.
So kind of, people say that beekeeping is in your DNA, and then when you are mature enough, like when you are ready, like this gene just activated, and then you want to start beekeeping, like to have your own bees. And this is definitely,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. This is what happens with me, and I know that I'm going to continue tradition and love the bees. And I read a lot about bees, and I help some of my other cousins who has the bees. So I was into it before, and then you can imagine me sitting like a guy who's investing into NFTs and these nodes, and then I'm looking to this beauty behind me, because behind me are beehives.
Uh-huh.
And I'm looking to this beehive, then I like, look, this is the node. This is the real node. This node producing the money, me, when I'm sitting right now. So
Interesting.
it's not digital, it's real.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then I start thinking, okay, how I can start like digitalize it.
Yeah.
And then I came up to idea actually that I can offer other people, instead to click and run some node online, that they actually can click and run this node behind me, and have something that it's resistance to bear market and also to bull market. So there is no bear market, there is bull market. So these are the real assets. They are the real creatures who are doing something, and anyone can be part of it. So that was my first idea, like first idea on this.
Dude, it's beautiful. And I love, actually, I think the most interesting thing that you said is you had this like aha moment that, holy shit, beehives are actually real life nodes. Were you just like sitting around drinking a coffee and that popped up? Or like, how did you come to that realization? Because that's a really interesting realization.
So because I was already into beekeeping, I did some calculations about how beehive can bring, what's the cost about maintaining all of this. And then actually I connected these two numbers. I connected weight, but this is way better than almost any project that I invest now. Because
And,
first one, it's sustainable,
yeah.
and it's predictable,
Yeah.
and I don't need to think will in bear market will go down or not.
Right. Right.
So numbers somehow actually connected the bees with this digitalization, with digital world.
Yeah, and that makes sense, man. I mean, because I've said this a lot in spaces and other forums. I would say the last 6 to 8 months, people like you have been coming on the show, and the NFT is not their business, right? It used to be the NFT was your business. Whereas now you understand, oh, I can create a business and harness the power of blockchain technology to make my business better. And that is such a critical point. And it's just really cool to see real entrepreneurs coming in, like yourself. Like you said, you've worked for tons of startups, have tons of learning lessons. You've been prepped throughout your life, through even your childhood experiences, to have the mindset, the understanding to produce a company. But now you're interested through computer science and technology and nodes. This could work as a profitable company. So that's beautiful to see. I think the next thing to follow up to that is, I always like to, once we really get into HiveBits, start off with not even 2 minutes or less, but basically the pitch of what HiveBits is in a condensed version.
Yeah, I can in short tell you like pitch, small pitch, like so.
Yeah.
Practically, the base idea of the HiveBits, it's to allow anyone in the world to invest into beekeeping. That's short and sweet. And how we do it, we use blockchain technology. In terms, people can invest through blockchain. What we are doing, we take beehives, we install beehives, we maintain beehives, and then on the season, we allow you to collect goods or to let us to sell it through our channels and return you back into token.
I got it. And so this is interesting because I was confused. I was like, so how does, because I think this is a critical, I would say, messaging or strategy point for you, but connecting the dots between how is owning a beehive going to help me make money. Obviously, you're supporting a beehive, and we know bees are good for the world. But can you talk just a click down a little bit on how those financials work? What is, if you can talk about future, like what is the cost of an NFT going to be? Like what is the upkeep? How does that all work? I'm interested on the financials and the numbers, or anything that you can share, because I don't think your NFT has launched yet.
Yeah, so one more thing just before we go to financials. So after I got this first idea, so next step for me was to solve how to solve transparency, because on Web3, I like transparency, so I want to offer transparency to other people. So I took my hands and I built my prototype like of sensors, and each beehive is going to be placed on the sensors, and practically each beehive will be online. So you will, as investor, be able to see what's happening inside the beehive.
That's amazing. So
And
not only do you own a beehive, you can actually see what's happening with a beehive. This is so cool. I knew this is one of the many reasons why I wanted to be in Web3, because there's going to be amazing people like yourself with minds that are actually going to connect the dots on how this can work. Because me sitting in San Diego in California, having not a clue about bees, other than now I've met you as an amazing human. You've got your mind on straight. I have heard through the grapevine that bees are amazing for the world. Now I'm interested, and now I can be a part of that. And we can use your family's generations worth of knowledge, and I can be a part of that just by the blockchain technology. This is beautiful. So you have sensors that monitor the beehives.
yes, and
Anything else that you want to add to that before we get to kind of how the financials
yes.
work?
So actually, here we are solving two problems. First, solving transparency to community, and second problem is it's helping us to maintain more beehives. Because by some calculations, one beekeeper can maintain 300 hives if he works full time just for beekeeping. With sensors, we are going to increase that to 500 to 600 beehives per beekeeper. So
And
practically,
here's a
yeah.
question. If you have a community committed enough, are you basically saying if you own a beehive, you could in sense be a virtual beekeeper as well?
Yes, so practically the whole idea of HiveBits is for you to become virtual beekeeper. But how we grow and develop idea, we also want to help other people from community to become beekeepers.
So you've got this two-way facet working too. So we've got virtual beekeepers, and you're expanding the tradition of beekeeping as a local presence as well. This is beautiful. This is
And
beautiful.
yeah, I'll
I love
explain
it.
why this is important later when we go to CCD topic, but also like it's not easy now to start with beekeeping if you don't have any knowledge. But if you have sensors, if you have community, and you have HiveBits who can support you, this is completely different story.
Awesome.
It's
I
funny.
love it. So let's get into a little bit of the financials. Then we have to make sure that we cover CCD, which nobody knows about probably right now, and apitherapy. So
Yes.
before we get there, I'm just interested in kind of like, obviously we don't have to go detailed, but this is another thing that most people back in the day couldn't tell me. Like, how does profit and financials work? Like, take me through kind of the business model.
So the business model, it's calculated. I'll just say approximately what's happening because there's worst best case
Yeah. That
situation. Yeah,
in general, we don't need like detailed
in general.
numbers.
So practically one beehive can bring up to $300 per year, and we are calculating something that the return of investment is 2 years. So
Right.
practically, when you invest into beehive, you are going to have your money back in 2 years, and you are going to claim goods from the beehive next 15 years. So
Okay. So your 2-year investment gives you basically a 15-year return, and that's whether or not you want to keep the product yourself or use your distribution channels to sell for profits.
exactly.
Awesome.
And this is a bit more complicated because we have many different ways to scale this, and we work
Yeah.
on some of them. But this is like I don't want to promise and not deliver. It's much better not
Right.
promise and then under deliver. But yeah, there's many other things that
Yeah.
even now I do as with my apitherapy center. So
Yeah. So I would say bottom line, $300 for an NFT is not much compared to all of these other things that people are wasting money on that really have no business plan or hope other than like hopefully they make a video game or hopefully they make a movie about this thing. We've got Pudgy Penguins is really one of the few that actually has world life application. That makes sense to me. This already has world life application. It already has a business that you're running. And what I'm hearing you say is absolutely agree, under promise 100%. But there are potentials to monetize and scale and grow. We just don't know what that looks like yet.
yes, exactly.
Awesome. Love it. So anything else that you want to talk about on HiveBits and how the process works, how the financials work before we get into CCD and apitherapy? Because I think apitherapy might be a branch of how extra monetization can happen, right?
Yeah, definitely. Apitherapy is something interesting and some other way to use bees and bees products.
Yeah.
But before we go to it, I just can say like how we're going to plan and what's our plan with the HiveBits. So practically, we are going to issue two NFT collections. First NFT collection will be Founder Collection, OG Collection. Actually, this is helping us to funderize the project. And second collection will be Beehive Collection, where one NFT will represent one beehive.
Gotcha.
And of course, OG people holders, they will have different ways like to increase their monetization through different processes that we are building. So practically, they will be partners in whole this
Gotcha.
story of HiveBits.
Right. Makes sense to me. And then the second collection, why the second collection?
Then second collection will represent the real beehive. So you as OG founder, you still don't have the hive. You have some benefits inside the HiveBits. And then we'll issue first batch of the beehives. It will be around 500 beehives. And then if you have OG NFT, you will be able to you have priority to mint actually the beehive collection.
Beautiful. Love it. Really interesting concept. All right. So take us through why this NFT is critically important to the earth. I guess we can start with CCD. CCD. Tell us what CCD stands for and take us through that journey, man.
Yeah, so I don't know many people. I think many people know this that like bees are pollinating 60% of the food actually that grow in the world. 65%. So practically no bees, no food, like we can say like that. And economically also, for example, just in California by pollination lemons, it's building 15 billion per year in that industry. So bees are important for the globe, definitely. And there is now one phenomenon that it's called CCD, or colony collapse disorder. Actually, scientists find out that 30% of the bees never find a way home. So by year to year, our colonies are weaker. So even if we have more beehives out, it means that we have less bees.
Mm.
And one of the biggest issue with this is actually pesticides.
Yes.
For example, there is cornfield, and then it's sprayed with different pesticides, and then bee came to corn to collect the pollen, get poisoned, died, and never came back to the colony. But that's not only the pesticides, it's also, for example, electromagnetic fields. Like we have more and more antennas, and each new generation of antennas are faster, waves are shorter. So this is also influencing the bees and their way how they orientate into nature.
Yeah.
So this is, I'll say, two main reasons, and then there is different other reasons like poison rivers, some poison rains. All of these things are influencing the bees significantly, and we reach it like 30% of the bees are disappearing. This is the CCD, like colony collapse disorder. And
So
now,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So how government's trying to solve it? It's like by controlling the pesticides. In Europe, it's a bit better situation. In States, it's a bit worse because of the control of the pesticides. This is how government's trying to solve it. And we as beekeepers, how we can help to fight it, we can actually increase the number of the colonies.
Right. And so, but to your point though, even if you can increase the number of the colonies, that's not going to solve the full problem, right? There still needs to be decrease of pesticides through regulation, plus a large cohort of beekeepers making more colonies. Is that right, or am I missing something?
No, definitely, it's not going to solve it. It's not solvable over a day. But the funny thing, like there is one paperwork from European Union that they did, and there is one big good company who developed a Hive Health Index. So it's collecting as many data as we can to find what's the reason, what's the correct reason, and how to solve it. And this is where actually HiveBits, with our sensors, our technology, we are going actually significantly to, by growing more and more and more hives, we have more data, because we are going to place beehives on different locations in urban areas, on definitely many different locations.
Yeah.
And we are going to collect not the data from the beehive, but from environment, air pollution, pesticides, electromagnetic radiation, all kind of different things.
Dude, that's awesome. So one of the many benefits then here too is that you are actually helping solve the problem with data, which is super cool, because I would not even thought about that. Go ahead.
And the funny thing here is, whatever we do, actually, we are helping our bees, and we are helping our environment, and we are helping our planet. So it's opposite from many other companies that whatever they do, they destroy. Here, no.
Yeah.
Whatever we do, we are giving it back a lot.
Yeah, we're growing, dude. This is awesome. This is fascinating. Okay, so anything else? I'm trying to think of any questions I have there. I think that all makes sense. I think I have any more questions. So, are you linked up with governments or any organizations that you already have kind of relationships with that you're going to share this data with? How does that work?
So we are trying now mostly to connect with scientists, because government, if you go to government, especially here in Serbia and Europe, they are not much interesting about that, but there is scientists who are interesting about that.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
We want to connect as much as we can. And this Hive Health Index that developed by European Union, it can be used as model actually to shape your data. So anyone can use on that way.
Right. And just to be clear, there was a question. I'm assuming that the hives are in Serbia, right?
Actually, no, hives will be in Bosnia because we have high potential for organic production. And organic production, it's really important for us because in that way we are opening many other markets where we can sell it.
Nice. So that's another kind of future idea. Again, under promise, but potential is the fact that once we work together as a community and you as a company and start building out this business model, it is expandable into different areas, right?
Yeah, regarding organic certificate, you need 2 years to run your beehives to get organic certificate.
Gotcha.
And here it's a certificate by European Union, so practically you're opening whole market like there. And then your honey, it's not anymore on that price; it's up to 30% more.
Okay.
It's like high quality luxury food.
I love it, man. I actually have some spray. It's like bee honey pollen spray or something to help immunity boost, right? Basically, if somebody's coming sick, spray it in your throat. My wife says it's fine. I don't think it tastes the greatest in the world, but I can stomach it. But yeah, I mean, there's all of these crazy benefits as well, and I think that's a good natural transition is the apitherapy, right? Which is one of many things that bees can help with humans. So let's kind of have that conversation and talk about that. But before we do that, I want to be cognizant. We have been talking for almost an hour and 15 minutes. Do you have a hard stop? Because I think we probably got another 15, 20 minutes if you have that time.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm completely fine.
Awesome.
I have my motor. That's only what I need now. So.
All right, cool. So, actually, let's do this. This is a clean break. You can turn your camera off, or run to the bathroom as well. I gotta go to the bathroom, bro. I've been slamming water, slamming drink. I'm gonna go to the bathroom super quick. Go ahead, turn your camera off. You don't feel uncomfortable just sitting there staring at the camera. I love you. By the way, Nemanja, we have almost 300 people watching us. So like people are very interested in what you're saying. So keep it up, my man. I'll be right back. Just like a minute. Boom. I told you I'd be quick, brother. Wasn't that long. All right, man. So apitherapy, and let's talk about kind of the human side of like what can bees do for us. Is obviously we know food is a critical thing, but I know pollen and bees and honey and all of these different things have massive benefits for us. So let's start with apitherapy.
Yeah, so apitherapy is now how actually bees can help to me, to any person directly, like to heal, prevent. So actually apitherapy is about prevention and healing with the bees and bees products. And most of the people, like they know about honey, maybe propolis, maybe they heard some about pollen, But there's many other different products that bees are actually giving us, so that we can use to boost, increase our health, and even heal from some serious like diseases. So one of the so are we okay with apitherapy? What's apitherapy?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Cool.
Listen, man,
So
like I said in the beginning, bro, this is your world, man. I'm just living in it. You are schooling me. I am learning. We've got hundreds of people learning with us. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So take us through this magical journey, my man.
So actually, one thing what I'm doing here, that people maybe don't know, it's actually I'm running apitherapy center in national park. So right now I'm in my apitherapy center. Behind me are beehives. On these beehives, I have the inhalator, and then people can breathe the air from the beehive.
Okay.
But let's get back to that like in just a minute. So beside the honey, there is pollen, propolis, wax. People heard for that. Bee bread, it's fermented pollen. Royal jelly, it's food that the bee is feeding the queen bee. So this is all products that have some significant impact on our health, depending on different situations.
Okay.
And the best way to consume all of them is actually this inhalator that is on the beehive. And the temperature inside beehive is always 36 degrees, like 56 to 57 degrees Celsius, like human body.
Okay.
And on that temperature, everything that I say, all of these products are evaporating and creating this aerosol that people sitting here and inhalate.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if you're a kid and you have bronchitis, you came here for 7 days and there's no anymore bronchitis, like your kids are cured. So it's really interesting to see happy parents who came here and after first day say my kid is sleeping all night. Or people with asthma, it's also like really amazing, like to see people who came back tomorrow and say, dude, this is first time in last 7 years that I get sleep over.
Wow.
Yeah, so without the pumps or this
Yeah.
corticosteroids.
Right. And so a lot of it is more lung health, or is it anything blood, brain, anything other benefits from it?
Yeah, so this inhalator, it's mostly for respiratory disease,
Mm-hmm.
but it's actually significantly boosts the immune system. So,
Mm.
for example, in other European countries like Slovenia and Austria, most of the people who came to epitherapy centers are healthy people, just came to boost immunity. And
Interesting.
in our case here, it's more about people who have some issue. Also, also it's really good for people who has depression to breathe.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really relaxing. And beside these beehives in the room next to me here, I have the bed, and on the bed are the beehives. And the frequency that bees produce during work really good, affecting the waves in human brain, like and help people to relax. It's like kind of meditation.
Interesting. I've
You
never
laying on,
heard of this.
yes,
This is all new to me.
yeah. So you can lay on it, and when you're laying on the bed, you can feel like how from the your spine, you can feel the buzz slowly going to your head.
Yeah.
It's really relaxing. And if you sleep 1 hour on this bed, it's like you're sleeping 8 hours on normal bed.
Interesting. Damn, I need that, dude. I'm coming. I'm coming. We're gonna make this happen. We're gonna get some of the DSK fam out there too. Maybe once we start making money, we can do freaking bee therapy trips. That would be fantastic. That
Definitely.
would be fantastic. Because I have suffered from a thing or two of anxiety and depression via major depressive order. So that would be really awesome to experience that. Random question. When you're breathing in the apitherapy stuff, what does it smell like?
It smells like honey.
It smells like honey.
Yes.
I was hoping that was going to be your answer, because if you're telling me I can basically breathe the smell of honey and be relaxed and boost my immunity, I'm freaking in. That sounds like a glorious solution to me. That's so cool. One thing that that a question that came up. Any thoughts about this? But they heard, not scientific or anything, but they heard if you eat your local honey, it can actually help boost your immunity and allergies as a person as well. Does that make sense? Or
Yeah, definitely makes sense. Especially these inhalators is also for people who have pollen allergies. So if you can help you to overcome it,
yeah,
and yeah, it's sense. And like bees are amazing, and people are even not aware like the whole this way how the bees live, how colony like operates.
yeah,
It's really really amazing thing, and
yeah.
all of these goods that they bring to us, it's also really amazing. Like it's I don't know like there's so much of that like but for example you heard for bee venom therapy.
The what?
Bee venom therapy.
No. What's that?
So
Hit me.
so practically we apitherapists take the bee and then sting you with the bee.
Sounds painful.
Yeah, it's painful, but for example, for people who has multiple sclerosis, help them to reactivate because
Really?
the bee venom it's huge neuro how to say it like neuro booster like it's really boost your brain.
Oh, gotcha. So it
Yes,
reactivates your neurons and stuff.
yes, and it's really like helpful with the breast cancer, lung cancer,
Uh-huh.
skin cancer. Like bee venom, it's
Interesting.
really, really, really amazing. Like product
Yeah.
that bees give to us, and people are not much aware of it.
Yeah. What's fascinating to me is we've used technology and great amazing things in the medicine world, right? But there's very practical like things like bees that can do so many amazing benefits and then no one ever talks about it. So that's super cool that you're doing this because it's something sustainable that helps us out. And it's not like you're taking a pill. I think there's even something therapeutic to say like the room you're sitting in looks pretty majestic to me, bro. Like just even sitting in that room looks relaxing. And then I'm gonna be able to lay on a bed. Then I'm gonna be able to breathe some honey air, which sounds amazing. And I'm gonna walk out feeling better. Like, why would I not do that? That's so cool. And again, back to this all started with you're creating an NFT to share in the growth of this magnificent idea and there's a real world implication for it. It's super, super cool, man. Let's do this. We can start winding down, but I don't want to miss one. You created some badass mobile game that has actually, again, not just a mobile game to create money, a mobile game that actually relates to what you're building. So I want to go through that. And then after that, I actually have one more question. It's a canned question I ask every guest. Don't worry, do not stress out. It's a softball question. I promise you. And then we'll do the next, the future, what we can expect, maybe as much as you can talk about the mint price, all of those things, and then what the future holds. And then we'll wind it down, man. So let's go with let's go with and I think it recently released, right? The mobile tapping game. Take us through the idea. Take us through the concept and how it relates to what you're doing.
So yeah, we are going to release it on Friday, this Friday.
Oh, okay, it's not out yet. It's
Yeah,
coming this
yes,
Friday.
it's not out yet. So right now, like probably most of the people know, like Telegram mini apps and tapping games are really, really like in hype. So we decided actually to use this as one way to engage our community. We build our own tapping game, but whole purpose of the tapping game is to actually let people to participate for some future airdrops, to get the whitelisting, and also
Mm,
to learn actually what we are going to do with the bees. Like when you invest into HiveBits, what beekeepers do in the background. So practically in the game, you are becoming kind of a beekeeping manager, like football manager, where you have resources to update, you have products generated, you need to sell this product to earn money. So kind the idea of the game, it's like to engage community on the way that they can expect something from the game, and also then they can learn what you're going to do.
yeah. Dude, and this is beautiful, and I think this is also a critical message, right? You're not just building a tapping game yes, you've got potential to make money based off the outcomes of what you're doing, but you're using it as an educational platform, which is very smart because part of your outcome is to create virtual beekeepers, which, by the way, is probably a brand new industry, right? There's not many virtual beekeepers in the world, right? And so creating this kind of skill set could create literally a whole new industry, but yet you're using this tapping game in Telegram, and all the hype right now is just the tap games to get some shit coin, but you're making a tapping game that is actually going to affect, one, how you learn about beekeeping in the process, and then two, benefit you within this ecosystem. So I think that's brilliant. Anything else that you want to add?
No, that's about game. Or if you have some questions, like feel
No,
free to
yeah,
ask.
I think the only question is, um, just educate us a little bit. Like, what are the what as a virtual beekeeper, as going through this game, what are the elements that you think are important that you're going to be educated on?
So definitely, like people will need to first. People are going to learn what are the bees products, all the bees products and bees products that we are going to produce in reality.
Right.
So they will be get sense how it's produced, what's more expensive, what's less expensive, and then they will teach them like what resources we need to achieve all of this.
Mm,
Like what's the beekeeping equipment, what's important, like when we are looking genetics for the queen bees, all some kind of things that we are going to make this idea like HiveBits to work in reality on the ground.
love it. Yeah, and that's cool because you're learning the resources and the output, which is through a game, which everybody likes to play game, and you can do it on your mobile, which is key. I don't think enough people talk about, like, for instance, me and you, right? I got a 1-year-old, man. I can't sit in front of my computer and play games. So the fact that I could do something like this on mobile when I have, a couple of extra 5 minutes is huge, huge. I think mobile uh, gaming is just it's kind of a necessity if you're building some type of project at this day and age. Hence why Telegram is going crazy, right? Uh, but Telegram's a whole nother subject, right? Lots of things have happened recently with that. Okay, so I think before I ask my last question, we're kind of winding down here, which is what can you? So you just said this Friday is the expected launch date for the tapping game. How do I get involved with that? Where is the Telegram link? Is it on your Twitter? Is it on your website? If people hear what you're saying right now and they're like, "Shit, man, this sounds amazing," how do they do that?
Yes, so far we only run the Telegram group and Twitter account.
Hmm.
Soon we'll probably have also Discord channel, but so far it's too much work for us. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
people usually everything all announcements we are posting on Telegram and on the Twitter.
Okay, so the Telegram link is on the link tree on your Twitter account, right?
Yes,
All right,
exactly.
so I'm just gonna put in chat your Twitter account. Everybody, uh, listen, I better see over 300 new followers on this account. I'm putting this link in there now. You people make it happen because this is a beautiful, beautiful concept and idea. And Nemanya's, I can tell and I know, a good freaking human being. All right. So go to the Twitter, follow the Twitter, check out the Telegram. I'm assuming there's more information in the Telegram as well, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So next 6 to 12 months, my only advice always is, like you said, under promise, over deliver. Do not share too much information. Anything that you're comfortable with. I'm really interested in how we're moving forward because it's a fascinating concept.
Yeah, so I can say like we are planning actually to do mint for OG collection in October,
Okay.
and then on the spring, like we are planning actually to do hive collection, and we are going to install immediately 500 beehives.
Awesome.
So this should happen on first, as a second quarter of next year, because of the weather, we'll probably ideally would be to do it in May.
No, love it. So within less than a year, we're looking at NFT mint, actual beehives producing, and having your sensors up and virtual beekeeping becoming a thing, right?
Yeah, because now over winter we have enough time to go from prototype to production regarding the sensors.
Right.
And yeah, we have really enough time to do it. So
And
if
so
everything is fine, if we create a great hype about this, and yeah, definitely we're expecting like mid on October, and then like
listen, man, this is the beginning of the hype, and I've got a network of a lot of kind, awesome people that I think are going to be able to get behind this message, especially because of the fact that you're using blockchain technology to do something that is impactful. I finally figured out what the dinging was. It was I had Telegram open. I was like, what is this dinging? Okay, so that's gone. Actually, I think that dinging was I put the link in to go to your Twitter and then go to your Telegram, because I just saw a bunch of your Telegram messages pop up. So hopefully people are actually going to your Telegram and listen to me.
Hopefully, okay.
Yeah. So anything else before I wind down? Oh, this was the one question that I had that I wanted to get answer. Is this the only application of virtual beekeeping you think exists in the world?
On this way with Web3 and everything, yes, it is, because there is hardware software that's using by beekeepers. There's some way for other people to adopt a beehive, also using technology, but not on this way. Like we are going to put everything online, we're going to put everything transparent, and where we are going to share the profits from the beehive with holders. This is unique.
Love it. Love it. Okay, so anything else you want to add as closing about HiveBits, about yourself before I ask? Well, really closing about HiveBits and your company. Anything else that you want to add there? And then we'll kind of close it down.
No, I think that I said what's our mission, what we want to do, and if you have any questions, something it's not like clear to you, you definitely ask, or anyone else who wants to ask. We are always open on Telegram to questions and to answer to all questions.
This damn Telegram's still popping up. Sorry about that, man.
No problem.
Son of a bitch. How do I get rid of these notifications? Because I don't want this to freaking continue to pop up and happen. If I go to my notification settings, there we are. Notifications off. You're finished. Okay, cool. So last question. Dude, I turned my notifications off and it's still buzzing. Whatever, it's just going to have to happen. Last question. You have now spent, where are we at? Dude, we're an hour and a half. We spent an hour and a half. I told you we're going to build this friendship online. You've probably at least listened into some Twitter spaces, listened into other podcasts, really, honest feedback. You can tell me it was a horrible experience. You could give me critical feedback, or you could say it was awesome. What was your feedback on what I just took you through, which is the Journey of the Midlife Crisis podcast?
No, I think that it's amazing, because all other things that I'm listening and see, and people are just interested. Okay, what you are doing, what is my profit? But this was a great actually opportunity for other people to get me know. So now when they go to your podcast, they know who I am and what I'm doing. So not just like what I'm doing right now, what I did before, and why I'm on this mission. So this is great, definitely. Thank you.
Thanks, man. And that warms my heart, because that's literally what I'm trying to do. I think I'm just trying to humanize the space. I'm trying to connect with you as a human. You felt that. And now I think, to your points, most of these Twitter spaces and stuff in the Web3, at least, you got about 45 minutes, an hour max. It's, what are you doing? How are you going to make me money? Have a nice day. Now we know beautiful, beautiful things about yourself. Came from a war-torn country. already built some grit right there, right? You had very influential parents that instilled beautiful things like sharing chocolate with kids that don't have chocolate. Like that's not coming out of a Twitter space, right? Your judo story was fantastic. I think that hearing and this is what I love because I'm hearing more and more of this. You are building a startup, but you have worked for multiple startups and you have seen what has worked and what has not worked. And one of the biggest things is product market fit. The other thing is how do you monetize and how do you keep this thing sustainable? So you've had all those learning lessons. Not to say that you aren't going to continue to fail because you will. We all will. But what's interesting is those failing lessons that you've had before are going to help you get back up a little bit quicker than maybe somebody else. I also just want to say, you as a human, I can tell that you're compassionate and that you care. And let's be honest, anybody that's going to take the time to tokenize and create bee sensors because they know the world's falling apart because of the decimation of bees, you got to have some type of good cell in your body to be doing that because people could be spending time, and you with your background as well, you could be making a lot of money in this space very quickly. I say that the same thing about myself. Like I could have had a lot more followers and a lot more money in my bank account right now if I was a shithead. And I can tell that you're a genuine human being and that you're doing the right thing. And I really do think, man, this is the beginning of a friendship. We're going to continue to grow together. I love the fact that I'm getting people like you that are actually building real life things. We've got communities behind you now. We're going to continue to help get you insights, continue to help how to grow that strategy, hone the customer, right? Because your customer evolves over time as well, too. And if you don't evolve, what you're building is not sustainable. And I think we can actually help you do that. So the last thing I will say is you shared intimate details about yourself. I don't think you've ever really done a long video podcast like this. It was your first time. You freaking killed it, man. You gave us some beautiful insights. You did it in an eloquent, very, very put together way. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. And then ultimately, you got a 7-month-old. My son just turned 1 year. We both have building businesses. We both have a life. Time is by far the most valuable thing that people like us have. And you just gave me 1 hour and 37 minutes of it. So that, out of anything that you've done today, deeply, deeply means a lot to me. So thank you, man.
Thank you, Mikey. Thank you for the warm words, definitely. It means a lot for me. And thank you for your support, definitely. And just to know, this is my first podcast ever.
Well, you fucking
This is my first podcast ever. So
I always say, if you're ever going to do a podcast first time, you probably want to come on Mikey G Midlife Crisis show because I'm going to make you feel real at ease. That's my goal. That's my goal. So with that being said, man, we freaking love you all. That was a journey, man. We went from growing up in war to saving the world with bees, doing startups and everything in between. We have NFT God at really Alex Finn. I say NFT God because I have a lot of OG NFT people in here. He would hate me if I actually used that name. But Alex Finn coming on next week. That's going to be a massive, really, really interesting conversation. But Nemanja, thank you, man. So much love. We're going to continue to grow together. With that being said, Midlife Crisis and Mikey G and Nemanja are out.